Good evening and welcome to This Week in the Triangle. This is Stephen Horn, and tonight we're going to talk about some local news here in the Greater Triangle area of North Carolina. So tonight we have some stories from Chapel Hill, Orange County, Wake County, um, and I believe Durham County as well. So the three main counties tonight, um, and let's get into it. So first up, we have a story about Chapel Hill. Now, if you are familiar with with North Carolina, with North Carolina politics, you know that Chapel Hill is quite a liberal area. Yet this week, they're accused of removing DEI and LGBTQ history pages from their website due to pressure from the Trump administration. And among the citizens making the accusations were the former mayor of the town, Mike Kleinschmidt. Now, there was a whole ruckus. People were upset, people were mad. You could even call it an angry mob with pitchforks and torches. And so, what was the town's response? Well, apparently, these pages about the town's commitment to DEI and LGBTQ history had been removed by a third-party contractor because of how few page visits they got. That's right. No one was visiting these pages, so they were taken off the town's website because the contractor apparently was not informed about the importance of virtue signaling. So, the mayor, Jess Anderson, put out a statement, apologizing for sending the wrong signal. And that is exactly what pages like this are all about. When the town of Chapel Hill puts up a page about LGBTQ history on its website, it's not actually because the citizens of Chapel Hill are interested in the town's LGBTQ history. It is virtue signaling because they want to signal that they support the LGBTQ. And so even if no one is visiting this page, it is extremely important because if they remove it, the LGBTQ supporters who don't care about enough about LGBTQ history to actually read about it or learn about it, they will still get mad, get angry, get upset if it is removed. So I thought that was a nice little example of virtue signaling. Even the language that the Mayor Anderson used in her apology was sending the wrong signal. And you'll hear the term virtue signaling on the right, and this is exactly what it refers to. And next up, we have a post I came across on social media. This is a Trump Vance sign on Kelly Road Park, or near Kelly Road Park in Apex. So it is a Trump Vance sign, a large sign which has been vandalized with a swastika. Now we're going to get to swastikas a little later in relation to left-wing protests, but I did cover some vandalism of political signs leading up to the election. Most signs have been taken down, but you'll still see the occasional sign like this. A large Trump Vance sign, and this one, in fact, has been vandalized. I'm imagining a sign of that size probably not exactly cheap. There's that. And it looks like the flagpole on this American flag might have been broken as well. Our next story is from Durham, where thieves who are, well, suspected thieves. So it's in Durham. The police get a call, reports of a series of car break-ins. So they send officers to investigate. They spot the suspect vehicle, apparently fleeing the scene. They try to attempt a traffic stop, and the vehicle of the suspected thieves speeds through a traffic light, crashes into another vehicle, and kills the passenger. And this passenger was traveling to a dialysis appointment. He was using a city service, Go Durham Access, which provides transportation for riders with disabilities. This passenger, Jermaine Clement, had actually been a driver for this service, and he was retired, and he was using the service himself to get to a dialysis appointment when the vehicle was struck by these apparent criminals, both for their thievery and for now their some sort of homicide. Crashes into that vehicle. The passenger was taken to the hospital with serious injuries, and he ended up passing away there. There are a lot of murders in Durham. I guess this one stuck out to me just because it is it's kind of reflective of the fact that, the people who commit small crimes like car break-ins, they're also the people who commit bigger crimes, like recklessly crashing into a car and killing people because they're trying to escape from the police. It's just a gradient. There's no separation. It's just how, how criminal, how antisocial behavior are you going to engage in? And so, it was very unfortunate that these criminals fleeing from the police killed a man. They caused a death. I in the release from the Durham police, it said the charges were pending. I haven't heard exactly what those charges may be yet. Um, but hopefully they will involve. In my opinion, it should be very very harsh charges when you're if you've committed a crime, you're fleeing from the crime, and you kill someone, that seems pretty high up there in terms of the various manners of death which are illegal. At the top, first degree murder, then you have second degree murder or manslaughter or various charged with lesser culpability. But if you are reckless because you are fleeing from the police, it seems to me like that is a very serious situation, and I hope our laws would reflect that. But I am not a liar. Our next story up here is from Wake County. So, a Wake County detention officer, a jail guard, has been charged with providing drugs to the inmates. So, Devin Lamont Williams, age 33, has been with the Wake County Sheriff's Office since March 2023, and he has been charged with a series of charges. It looks like 6 felonies here: conspiracy to traffic opium or heroin, felony possession with intent to manufacture, sell, or distribute, and felony providing contraband to an inmate. So the Wake County Sheriff's Office says that this was the result of a thorough and extensive investigation after they receive a tip. So anecdotally, what I've heard from people who have been jails and prisons here in North Carolina is that a lot of the contraband material, whether it's cell phones or whether it's drugs, is smuggled in not by visitors, not by prisoners themselves, but by the guards. So this isn't too surprising to me when I hear a detention officer gets caught. If you're looking at it, you can find plenty of other cases where detention officers, I guess that's the word for jail guards now. Detention officers being charged with smuggling in drugs or other various crimes involving the inmates, whether it's sexual or some other form of abuse, or smuggling, which is what we have alleged here. And once again, as in the previous case, this is America. We believe in innocent until proven guilty. So we can see this gentleman's mugshot here. Once again, this is a mugshot of someone who has not been convicted. This is Devin Lamont Williams. He has been charged. And so our main story from this week is from Raleigh. So I had mentioned a couple of previous issues of This Week in the Triangle. You can find all of this newsletter, all of this news at thisweekinthetriangle.com. As I reported previously on some of these anti-Tesla protests. And so for 4 weeks in a row, I believe, this is my understanding, for 4 weeks in a row, there have been protesters outside of this Tesla in Raleigh on Glenwood Avenue. And this week, there are over 100 attendees, as there have been previous weeks as well. And so I decided to go down, check it out for myself this week. It's being able to get over 100 protesters for multiple weeks of a weekly event. It's not an easy feat. If anyone has ever tried organizing a protest or attended a protest, it's not that easy to get people out. So I was kind of interested that this seems to be an issue that a lot of people care about. For every one person that shows up at a protest, there's hundreds, thousands, I don't know, maybe even tens of thousands who care about that issue, but not enough to show up at a protest. Anytime you see a protest, it's just sort of a small representation of the people who care about the issue, but don't actually make the time to come out and stand out on the side of a busy road. So you also found this protest sort of interesting because a lot of the protests in Raleigh are sort of specifically geared towards the media, especially the ones organized by sort of established protest institutions or even established political institutions. You can kind of tell when they have a podium, a microphone, they arrange some of the protesters behind them with signs, they have speakers, um, because that amplifies your message when it's sort of tailored to make it easier for the media to cover. That amplifies your message beyond the people who just see you in person, beyond the people who are just present there. This protest was definitely not engineered to be media friendly. So they're mostly lined up on the edge of Glenwood Avenue on the right of way in front of the Tesla dealership. Or I think it's technically a showroom, not a dealership, but dealership is kind of the colloquial word for a place where they sell cars. And there are even a few people with the protests across the street as well. So I go out to the median. They're all lined up around along the road. It's hard to get good pictures. It's hard to get good video. It's hard to hear anything because there's car noise going past. So in terms of an audience, there are certainly people on Glenwood Avenue who are able to see what is going on. But in terms of reaching a broader audience through the through TV, through print, through the internet. This protest doesn't really seem to be geared towards that. So it's a bit of an interesting dynamic. Whenever I publish material about left wing protests, I often hear the common accusation of, oh, these protesters must be paid to be here, and I'm a little skeptical of that. I know that does happen. My basically default assumption is that the most protest attendees are are not paid to be there. They're out there because they care about things. Because even if we disagree with what they care about, people on both sides of the aisles actually do care about what they believe in. So for a cause like this, yeah, there are a lot of people who do actually passionately believe that Tesla and Elon Musk Tesla through Elon Musk, that Tesla is funding Elon Musk and Elon Musk is helping Donald Trump destroy the country. And so they're passionate enough about that to go out and protest for it. And so I decided to go out there and take a look, take some pictures to share with all of y'all. Once again, you can find this all at thisweekinthetriangle.com. So in terms of the demographics, it was actually a little surprising. We had those pretty much 100% white people. Maybe one or two people of color. That I can spot looking at the pictures. Mostly older people, both older men and older women. So there has been, obviously, if you followed the news, you've seen the reports of vandalism of Teslas, fire bombings, windows smashed at Tesla dealerships or showrooms, graffiti, spray paint, whatever, all across the country. And some they've already identified and charged some people, and people who take radical action, tend to be younger. Some of these are Antifa types, some of them are transgender radicals. And based on the demographics of the people who I saw at this protest, did not fit those profiles of Antifa or trans radicals. It was mostly older white boomers, liberals, probably Democrats, and they're just out there standing for 2 hours to protest Tesla. So let's take a look at some of these pictures here. So we have there are quite a lot of signs. The themes on the signs are around democracy, Trump being bad, Elon Musk being bad, quite a few Ukrainian flags, and quite a few American flags, actually. Some of uh, some of the immigration related protests after Trump's inauguration did not have any American flags really at all. They had the flags of Latin American countries, but here we have Ukrainian flags and American flags and a few. I think that I saw two Canadian flags and a Mexican flag as well. So there was definitely some signs with anti-fascist language. Comparing Tesla or Musk to Hitler, the Nazis. There are a couple signs with swastikas, so kind of anti-fascist, but not necessarily the black bloc Antifa that tends to be behind the extreme actions. And so there was one sign, um, I guess one of the signs that I've seen at quite a few of the protests over the past couple weeks, couple months has been um, deny, defend, depose in reference to the assassination of healthcare CEO Brian Thompson. That was the message that was left by the killer, allegedly Luigi Mangione. These words were, I believe, they were carved on bullet casings, and that has become a phrase that a certain type of person has been carrying on signs at left-wing protests since then. So here we had a version of it: deny, defund, deport President Musk. So kind of making reference to allegations that it's Musk that is control, not Donald Trump, and like many of the other signs here, suggesting that Musk should be deported. Now, I guess defunding and deportation is a little less harsh than the assassination, which this phrase is in reference to. So I'm not sure what is going on there. So there's kind of a balance between radical language and maybe not so radical action from these people specifically, but there are people who do take that radical language and put it into radical action, which we have seen with the fire bombings, the graffiti, the vandalism, whatnot. And so another protest I was watching, not in person, but watching the coverage of, was a protest against Senator Tom Tillis. So Tillis had a fundraiser at the Carolina Country Club, and the protests outside was organized by the Triangle Labor Council. They also previously organized a protest outside of the federal building in Raleigh. So it's basically the federal labor union saying, no, please don't cut our jobs. We like our union members to keep getting tax dollars to work. And so that's that kind of along the same lines of the Tesla protests, a little bit different focus. I think there might have been some overlap, some of the same printed signs that I saw in images of both, but just generally they don't like the direction that Trump and Musk are taking the federal bureaucracy, the federal administration, and they want Tillis to do something about it, even though they know that he is not going to do anything because he is a Republican politician, and Trump and Musk are fulfilling the electoral mandate that they received. And so what was a little interesting as well is that they held one of these, I think they're called like empty chair town halls, where the leftists pretend that it's a town hall, but it's not actually a town hall held by the candidate. It's just so that they can um, be angry that he doesn't agree with them, because we've seen the video from the town halls that have been held recently, including, I believe it was Chuck Edwards in Asheville, where it's not the reason why the Democrats and the liberals want to attend these town halls is not to genuinely communicate with their elected officials. It's just to make a scene, to be heard, to lecture, as sort of a humiliation ritual, to just, you know, like, I hate to break it to you, but the reason why Tom Tillis doesn't do what Democrats want him to is not because he hasn't been yelled at by enough Democrats. Okay. And, a lot of people, I guess a lot, maybe some more of the grassroots, the base, and I've seen a lot on the conservative side as well, is that the voters get this idea that the politicians just don't agree with them because they haven't heard me. If they just hear what I'm saying, then obviously they would do what I want them to. But the truth is that the difference between Republicans and Democrats and what they do isn't just that they don't know what the other side believes. It's that they have different priorities, they have different values, they have different ideologies, different ways they see how they see the world work. So, if 100 Democrats yell at Tom Tillis for an hour in a town hall, that's not going to change anything. Maybe it's gratifying for those Democrats, but looking at the Chuck Edwards town hall, there's Democrat activists trying to make scenes, trying to make videos for social media, trying to get media attention for their antics. There's really no upside at this point to go for a Republican politician to go and be yelled at by Democrats. So that's my 2 cents. Once again, this has been This Week in the Triangle with Stephen Horn. I'm an independent journalist. You can find this newsletter at thisweekinthetriangle.com. If you're here, thanks for tuning in.